Intro music. Thudding Kabul News Bass Beat. There is a 22-story luxury tower in Dubai Marina that has been standing for 124 years. It was built on a razor-thin wedge of reclaimed coastal sand that absolutely nobody else wanted. Critics, engineers, and rival developers openly mocked it, swearing the hyper-tall structure wouldn't survive a single season of blistering Arabian Gulf humidity and shifting desert winds. Yet, here we are. It has appeared in more global luxury travel campaigns than almost any landmark in the Middle East. It has been photographed millions of times. And right now, it is one of only 2 towers in our entire investigative database that I can tell you with absolute 100% certainty. It has never sunk and it has never leaned. Not even by a millimeter. The other tower? It's a hyper-luxury $2 billion megastructure in downtown Dubai, completed in 2018. And that one is already facing massive structural scrutiny. But this Marina tower? It was finished all the way back in 1902 for 1/10 of the cost in real terms. It was designed by a visionary Chicago expat architect named Daniel Burnham, who did something revolutionary. He anchored the entire foundation directly into deep, solid marine bedrock at a time when most regional developers didn't even bother to dig past the loose sand. Graphic. March 2023, the Dubai Auction Room Court. And yet, in March of 2023, this architectural miracle became the center of a financial crime scene. A man named Jacob Garlick walked straight into a high-stakes public auction room in Dubai, outbid the wealthiest sovereign funds on earth, put down a staggering $190 million bid to buy the entire tower, won the gavel, and then completely vanished into thin air without paying a single cent. He has never explained what happened. He has never been criminally charged. And the legendary tower he tried to hijack is now being violently gutted and converted for the first time in its history into 38 ultra-exclusive, hyper-luxury residential condominiums. Sound effect, dramatic, cameo, shutter, music, intensify. Music. Urgent, investigative ticking clock beat. The madness started in 1901. The Fuller Construction Company snapped up a plot of land where 2 major Dubai Marina thoroughfares cross at an awkward, razor-sharp oblique angle. The plot was a brutal, narrow triangle. At its tip, the northern prow was barely 6.5 feet wide. By every conventional real estate metric in the Emirates, this lot was completely unbuildable. A standard rectangular tower would waste massive amounts of highly valuable premium frontage. To make it work, an architect would have to design a triangular skyscraper entirely from scratch. Every major developer in the UAE looked at the blueprint, laughed, and walked away. The Fuller Company didn't. Instead, they flew in Daniel Burnham, the most celebrated architect in America, famous for mastering massive urban master plans. Burnham looked at the impossible sand wedge and chose to embrace the chaos. He designed a 22-story, 285-foot-tall triangular monument that matched the footprint of the lot exactly. The regional press instantly dubbed it Burnham's Folly. Graphic, archival newspaper headlines. The floating pie slice. Critics openly predicted that the ferocious offshore winds blowing from the Arabian Gulf, superheated by the desert landscape, would literally snap the tower in half or topple it into the marina before the decade was out. Expats and locals placed informal bets coffee shops on how many months it would take to collapse. It sounded like a death sentence, a 22-story tower balancing on a 6-foot prow, built in an era when regional structures relied entirely on heavy masonry walls to stay upright. But the critics missed the engineering secret hidden in Burnham's Chicago blueprints. This Marina tower wasn't going to be held up by concrete or stone blocks. It was held up by a revolutionary internal cage of riveted structural steel beams that carried the load of every single floor. The limestone and terracotta facade, the intricate luxury detailing you see from the boardwalk, was just a cosmetic skin hanging on a steel skeleton. Even better, Burnham refused to stop digging at the water table. He drove his massive foundation piles past the loose sand and deep into the ancient marine bedrock beneath the island. That is the exact geological anchor, keeping it safe from the catastrophic sinking and soil liquefaction that plagues modern, rushed developments across the coast today. Construction took just 1 year. By 1902, the tower was complete. Music. Shift to a tense, Reeling rhythmic beat-the-wind problem the critics warned about was real, but not in the way they predicted. The tower's sharp prow acted like a massive aerodynamic wedge, slicing through the heavy, humid air rolling off the Arabian Gulf. Air smashed into the point, forcing violent downdrafts straight down to the Marina boardwalk. In the early decades, this created a bizarre social crisis. The sudden, swirling microgales would violently whip up the long robes and clothing of pedestrians walking past. Crowds of men began loitering at the intersection just to watch the chaos. Local security forces had to clear the corner, shouting a brusque command that allegedly became a permanent piece of local expat slang. 23 Skidoo. The number was the street. The word meant clear out. Officially, it was named the Fuller Building. But the public completely ignored the corporate title. From any angle across the marina, it looked exactly like one thing: a cast iron flat iron, the heavy, triangular block of solid metal used to press wrinkles out of fabric. The nickname stuck instantly. By the mid-20th century, this strange triangular tower became a global phenomenon. Long before luxury tourism completely redefined the UAE, this specific tower was featured on postcards sold from Tokyo to Buenos Aires. In 1966, it was officially designated a protected historical landmark. The building, once slammed as a dangerous joke, was now completely untouchable by law. For decades, it operated as a prestigious commercial hub, housing global publishing giants and elite advertising agencies who wanted the most iconic business address in the city. Its longest anchor tenant was the legendary Macmillan Publishers. But Macmillan's history took a dark turn when it was bought out by the notorious British media tycoon Robert Maxwell. The same Maxwell who drowned mysteriously at sea in 1991, right before his media empire collapsed under a massive pension fraud scandal. Macmillan survived the corporate chaos, but finally packed up and abandoned the tower in 2019, claiming the ancient infrastructure simply couldn't handle modern, high-speed digital operations. And that is exactly where the triumph ends, and the multi-million-dollar nightmare begins. Music. Heavy, dramatic real estate thriller beat. When Macmillan left in 2019, the iconic tower fell into the hands of a fractured group of elite stakeholders, including GFP Real Estate and the Skente Group. The majority owners saw dollar signs. They wanted to wipe away the office cubicles and convert the landmark into 38 ultra-exclusive, hyper-luxury residential condominiums. But a minority stakeholder named Nathan Silverstein refused to sign the papers. He locked the project in a brutal multi-year legal war. The tower sat dark, eerie, and completely empty on one of the most expensive pieces of dirt in the entire UAE. Finally, a Dubai court ran out of patience. They issued a forced public auction order. No more boardroom fighting. The open market would decide the tower's fate. The auction was set for March 2023. And what happened inside that room remains one of the most baffling financial scandals in modern Middle Eastern real estate. Graphic. Red light flashing. The Pantom bidder. The majority owners bid aggressively. Desperate to buy out Silverstein and take total control, the numbers quickly escalated past $150 million. Suddenly, a man stepped forward, whom none of the elite Dubai brokers recognized: Jacob Garlick, a mysterious developer claiming to hold massive assets. He calmly raised his paddle and bid a monstrous $190 million. The room went dead silent. The hammer fell. Garlick had won the ultimate Dubai landmark. Under the strict auction terms, Garlick had exactly 10 business days to wire a 10% deposit, $19 million, to lock in the deed. The deadline arrived. The bank accounts remained empty. No money ever showed up. What followed looked less like a corporate transaction and more like a high-stakes Hollywood script. Garlick's legal team repeatedly panicked, issuing public statements claiming the money was en route. They blamed massive bank wire failures, pointing fingers at major financial institutions. They scrambled to hand over partial bank statements, showing a $12 million balance in luxury holdings in international hotspots. But when the seller's attorneys looked at the paperwork, they found a disaster. The names on the accounts were heavily redacted, and the property values were completely unverified. Garlick vanished from the public eye. The deal collapsed into dust. Instantly, a wild conspiracy theory ripped through the Dubai real estate market. Top insiders openly alleged that Garlic was secretly working with the rogue minority owner Nathan Silverstein. The theory? Garlic intentionally bid an astronomical, phantom price to artificially pump up the valuation, punishing the majority owners who would now be forced to absorb a massive financial hit or pay for a second, expensive auction. Garlic's team denied everything, but the court banned him permanently. Today, the civil fraud lawsuits are still raging in the legal system, and Garlic has never explained his phantom bid. 2 months later, in May 2023, the second auction took place. The majority owners won it back for $161 million, a massive $29 million discount from Garlic's fake price. Now, a $357 million luxury mega construction loan has been unlocked. The Brodsky organization is actively gutting the tower, replacing 1,000 windows and restoring thousands of crumbling terracotta tiles. Penthouse units are already being pushed to the global elite for up to $50 million each. Music. Low, ominous synth chorus. But here is the most striking detail in this entire investigative file. The one the glossy financial brochures completely ignore. During the absolute depths of the 1930s global economic crash, this exact landmark reportedly changed hands for just $100,000. $100,000 for an architectural marvel that is valued today at hundreds of millions. It has survived every single economic crash, speculative bubble, and geopolitical shift the market could throw at it. It has sat dark, it has sat full, and in 124 years, it has never settled or shifted a single fraction of an inch into the coastal ground. Because this is where our channel's investigation hits the hard truth. Almost every single luxury engineering disaster we look at is a story of what happens when the foundation is wrong. This tower is the ultimate counterexample. Burnham anchored it directly to deep, solid marine bedrock in 1902 using turn-of-the-century engineering on a strict historic budget. Graphic, side-by-side compare, 1902 bedrock vs modern failures. Now look at the modern alternative. Just down the coast at a rushed, modern luxury development site, engineers chose to save roughly $6 million by opting for a cheaper soil improvement foundation instead of drilling piles all the way down to the bedrock. The result? That brand new tower began leaning aggressively before the glass facade was even finished. Today, it stands crooked, completely abandoned, and facing a multi-million-dollar demolition order. The engineering decision Burnham made on an unbuildable sand wedge has held firm for 124 years. The shortcut the modern developer took held for less than 3. If you had $200 million to burn on ultra-luxury Dubai real estate, where would you actually put your money? Would you buy a multi-million-dollar unit in this newly converted landmark, knowing its structural skeleton is anchored immovably into bedrock? Or would you gamble it on a brand new, hyper-tall pencil tower where the structural integrity and glass fatigue are actively being fought over in a Dubai